Hey everyone, I'm Mike.
I'm Matt.
And welcome back to Morsel Media Reviews. Today we're going to be reviewing The Mandalorian Episode 2. So Matt, what'd you think?
The opening scene, there's like a sense of dread, of like approaching dread, and then not fear, but anticipation on the part of Mando. And that's when the Trandoshians? Is it
Trandoshans.
Trandoshans. Well, that's when they attack. And I liked how they presented him like kind of knowing he was walking into like not a trap, but obviously an area where he's not going to have the best of the conditions.
Yeah.
You know, and
we could tell by the subtitles that we watch it with that at one point it says hissing, right. And then in the background you see like a shadow jump across,
shadow, yeah.
and then it's a moment later that the Mandalorian puts his hand down to his hip. Yeah. And to get ready with his pistol or get his blaster ready or whatever, and then one of the Trandoshans jumps out. A fight ensues.
He's obviously aware that something's going on. Like he doesn't need to see the shadow to know that somebody's there.
Yeah.
On first viewing, I missed the shadow. It wasn't until the second viewing that I was like, oh, I missed that. So it's that quick. But it's very Western style when he reaches for his blaster, and he's sitting there waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
And he doesn't get the shot off.
No, he doesn't. As the blaster gets knocked out of his hand, right. Actually. Yeah, he knocks one down, and then there's one that runs over towards the Baby Yoda. Because in the middle of the fight, he actually pushes the Baby Yoda out of the way, which was funny because he hits his gauntlet or whatever, and the Baby Yoda moves.
Right. I love that little egg thing. Like, I would love to know the production behind that, because it does look like there's something, like a practical effect.
Underneath it, yeah, it's green. Probably bright green.
Yeah,
right?
green screen.
And he uses his disintegration rifle, again, which is really awesome. I like it a lot.
I love that it's a single shot.
Yeah, I do enjoy it. And the effect is cool. Yeah. And here's how cool it looks right about now. And then we're back.
Awesome.
So, yeah, I mean, it's really cool. They explode, and then they kind of just, like, flash, and then it's just ash that floats away, but it's so hot, it's floating away.
Right.
Oh, it's really cool.
But that's what I love. It like only dissolves like living flesh. Like the clothing is still there.
Yeah,
like,
which just falls to the ground.
After the fight ensues, Mando actually takes a hit.
Yeah,
right?
He does, like on his left arm, I think.
Yeah, and so the next scene, you see him, he's trying to stitch himself up, which basically looks like he's trying to, like, solder it.
Yeah. It's like sparking against his skin and stuff like that. It's very odd.
He's not showing any signs of like extreme pain from it.
Yeah.
So it's either causes no pain or he's just so used to it, which to me I kind of like the idea that he's used to it more than like it doesn't cause any pain. Mm-hmm. You see the egg is just kind of hovering there. You see Baby Yoda in the egg, and then you see him like reaching up towards Mando. Yeah. Towards his arm.
He ends up cuts to the egg. Yeah. And you see a back shot, and Baby Yoda like crawls out of the egg. Yeah. And the next shot is Mando, and he looks over, and then it's Baby Yoda looking up, like all cute with like the big saucer eyes, and he reaches up and he closes his eyes, and you're kind of like, And Mando's like, nope, and then picks him up and puts him right back in the egg. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And he goes back to what he's doing.
Right.
And then 2 or 3 seconds goes by, and he looks down again, and Baby Yoda's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So in that time, he's stealthy. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say that. He's stealthy. You didn't hear him. There's nothing in the subtitles. I'm just saying, there's nothing in the subtitles about, like, rustles or, like soft footsteps or something. So he's stealthy. And I think it's going to be, like, a thing.
There's a reason that they're showing that this child can do this so easily.
Yeah. He does it again. He picks him up and puts him back in the egg again. And this is what I'm going to say. At this point of watching The Mandalorian, as a Star Wars fan, a big Star Wars fan, I'm thinking to myself, every single time Yoda has used the Force, or I've seen him use the Force in any way, he typically has closed his eyes. Yeah. If he is actively using the Force.
When he's manipulating the Force itself.
And so I'm just kind of, that immediately says to me, okay, Baby is Force sensitive.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I thought they were definitely trying to foreshadow that, if not just almost explicitly show that it's trying to access the Force. If it can, is the question. Didn't seem like it was trying to reach up to like poke it, It was obviously focused on it for one reason or another. Then Mando starts working on his chest plate to try to get that. I guess he's done with his arm. It didn't seem like his arm was healed, but I guess he's kind of like moved on, right?
Yeah.
So, you see him, and I actually never realized that like that was like a plate. Like I thought it was like one piece. I didn't realize that there was like a front plate.
The way that they make it look a lot of the times is they make it look, like you said, like one piece or even interwoven into the fabric itself. But no, you end up like being able to like take it off individually.
Yeah.
It was very, very interesting. I like that they're showing you how these armors work.
I think that's an important thing. When you can't show your main character's face,
Yeah.
you have to do other things to
make them interesting.
Right.
So the next scene, he ends up coming back to his ship, and he's coming up on a ridge, and he reaches the ridge and he looks down, and there's a sand crawler parked right next to the Razor Crest, and the Jawas are just taking everything into the sand crawler, and he just kind of tilts his head and just looks at everything. Again, pulls out the holiday special rifle and just decimates like 4 of them.
Right.
Yeah. And Baby Yoda is just like kind of looking on, and just looks at him, kind of looks on, and it's just like that happened.
Yeah.
Like and then a chase scene where he has to run on foot to catch up and use some of his Mandalorian gear to get onto the sand crawler.
Grappling hook. Yeah. Right. And the little details on the CGI, but you see like clumps of dirt falling off the treads, dust coming up from the treads hitting the ground. Very well done. Very clean. It doesn't look like CGI. It doesn't look like he's in front of a green screen. No. Jawa's popping out. That's practical effects added on top of the CGI.
I really liked the cockpit scene.
Yeah.
Like it's only a flash for like a couple seconds, but it's a cockpit. You see a Jawa in a cockpit, and there's this big like horn thing next to him. And at one point, one of the Jawas on top of the sandcrawler calls down into something or whatever, and it's just like and whatever. And then it's just funny. It was just like a split-second thing, but it added so much because it's like this big. It's like that big of a cockpit.
The thing that was funny, because it looks like the guy on top is talking through a can on a wire.
Kind of,
like
right?
what you would have in your little like treehouse in the backyard.
It does look like a futuristic can on a wire. Yeah, I'll give you that.
The Jawas are still stuck with landline.
Yeah.
In this. It's funny that Jawas are just throwing literally anything.
Literally
they can
junk
find.
at him. Yes.
Anything they can find.
And there's a ton of junk in there from what we've seen from New Hope, and we saw C-3PO and R2-D2 inside for a little bit. I did like that when he finally got on top, that it was just like all of them were there, and that when they shot him, he didn't die. We know you're going to come back for your so we're going to end up like
they just stun him. They 50 of them tase him at the same time.
Yeah, it was a mass tasing. That is true. So then he gets shot and he ends up falling down. And lands on his back and little Baby Yoda egg comes over and hovers over him, and he wakes up for a second. And the next scene we see him talking to the Nick Nolte character. Like Nick Nolte and Miss Piggy had a baby.
Oh God!
Right? There you go.
Yeah, thanks.
That's a Disney property I want to watch.
Next on Disney Plus.
Yeah. Right. So we end up reconnecting with the Nick Nolte character.
Yeah, that was cool. He's thankful to the Mandalorian that he's captured the child. Mm-hmm. I guess because it's caused so much grief in the area. All these bounty hunters. So
when Nick Nolte and the Mando were talking, Mando's like, they stole my stuff. And he's like, they didn't steal it, they stripped your thing. They stripped your ship.
Right.
And he's like, now you have to trade with them. He's like, trade? Like, they stole it. He's like, just trust me and come on.
Yeah.
So they go to the Jawas, and they approach them. Nick Nolte's character starts speaking Jawa to them. Even the Mando knows a little Jawa and throws something snide out to them real quick, like, whatever. Nick Nolte's like, they don't really like you. And he's like, well, I did disintegrate a few of them. And Nick Nolte's like, leave the gun. And I like the line, I don't want to leave the gun, or I'm not going to leave the gun. Weapons are my religion.
Right.
It was cool. It was a very cool line. A very Mandalorian line, if you know anything about the Mandalorian lore.
He's obviously like a threatening character, and just the Mandalorians in general seem to carry that presence with them that they're threatening. And the fact that he just took out a whole bunch of them. Basically, it was about to storm like a small town on his own to get his stuff back. But even if it's 25 of them, he's going to just storm it to get his stuff back.
Yeah.
Before they even knew he was there, he's killing them. You know,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I can understand being a little salty on the side of the Jawas. I can also understand Mando being like, I want my stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
You should have taken it. That's why I killed you all. Yeah.
Right.
So they come to sit down and talk about it, and Mando gets pissed off and flamethrowers in the middle of the conversation.
Yes. They forgot about the flamethrower.
And like it's almost like the Jawas expected it because they don't even really like make that too much of a noise. They just kind of lean across this way and just have the flames go past them, and then lean back when he's done. And then Nick Nolte's character is like, "Don't do that."
Yeah.
But they end up making him go look for the Tuga.
Yes.
And Tuga ends up being some kind of egg that Nick Nolte. Right. He's like, you need to go get the egg. There's a small travel scene, if you remember, where the Mando's like really, really cramped in the cockpit.
Yeah. Yes.
Like he's like got his knees up to his chin. And he's just kind of, and then they hit a bump, and he's like, and like you hear his helmet hit. And then he's just like, oh my god. So we end up coming back over to the Mandalorian after he gets dropped off by the Jawas, and he approaches the cavern, and he enters the cavern. And he puts this little, like, where Boba Fett's rangefinder should be, this thing right here, he puts a, like a light, I just say flashlight, but it's like real bright,
Miner's light.
And I liked this scene because it was very dark,
right?
But you could still see the Mandalorian kind of clearly, but it was still dark without doing the daytime night thing. Or the day, you know what I'm saying? That's just a blue filter or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I like that. Plus they're in, a cave, you can't do the blue filter thing, so.
Right.
But you can still see details. So he ends up coming upon this like hairy egg, and he looks at it, and he looks up, and there's this big kind of circle structure kind of a thing in front of him.
It looks like the knot in a tree.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden you see it, and it just kind of opens up wide, this big saucer eye.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to Baby Yoda, a back shot of Baby Yoda looking at the cave, and you just hear like metal smash, and just like big noises, and then you see the Mandalorian just fly out of the cave and land.
You know, it's funny because what I was thinking while that sound was being made and stuff like that, I was literally thinking of like Tom and Jerry fighting, massive, just
the big smoke cloud with the arms and legs and like lightning bolts popping out.
Yeah, and then one always like flies out. It's very
flies out and it keeps going and they go back in. Yeah.
But it really did look like they just put like a wool sweater on a rhino.
On a rhino, yeah. It kind of did.
But he's the rhino smashes in the Mando. He like slams him into the ground. Mando's chest plate is hanging off. Mm-hmm. He's obviously like in some dire need here. He tries to flamethrow it, right, and it grabs his arm and like I don't know if it breaks the flamethrower, but he can't use it.
Yeah, he gets his ass kicked. The Mandalorian gets his butt kicked by this thing. So to the point where the Mandalorian gets hit far back, to where he pushed the Baby Yoda, the egg away, and he's kind of standing in front of the Baby Yoda egg, off to the side a bit, but still in front of it. And he pulls his knife out, and he ends up putting it in front of him, and you see the knife going like this, because it's a vibro blade. If you're a Star Wars fan, that vibrates so fast that it helps cut through things, which I thought was a really awesome detail. Was being able to see it vibrate. I was like, finally, I see a vibroblade.
I like that juxtaposition that he's ready to basically die to kill this thing.
Yeah.
He's not scared, but the knife itself is shaking, not the person
kind of right
handling.
Yeah,
the
even
knife.
though they're shaking for
Yeah.
So that's pretty funny. That's a pretty funny observation. So it ends up that the Mudhorn starts charging the Mandalorian, and he's coming at him. It's like, I'm gonna you up. I'm gonna horn you to death or whatever. And Mudhorn gets about 2 feet from the Mandalorian, and just comes to a dead stop, and is just pushing as much as it can, and pushing. And you see it cuts to Baby Yoda, and he's got his hand up,
right,
and his eyes are closed again, and he's like, "No, I got you, bro.
Yeah,
I got you." And the thing starts floating. It cuts back to the Mudhorn, and the Mudhorn's floating in the air like, I don't know what to do with myself. and Mandalorian looks up, and he's like, and he looks back at Baby Yoda, and Baby Yoda's doing the, I got you, bro, thing again. And Mando's like, all right. So he stands up, and he's just kind of like, I don't know what to do. Right. And the Baby Yoda becomes overwhelmed with the he gets exhausted and he ends up falling back. Oh, I got the vapors. I got the vapors. Yeah, that's what he was like. He's like, oh, God, save me.
Yeah, it was an old melodrama.
Yeah, for a little bit. Like his hand comes back and. And Mando's like, opportunity, boom, stabs the guy in the neck with a vibro blade. So it goes right through their vibro blades to future. You can stab something, kill it in one hit. All right, Star Wars. So little baby Yoda becomes overwhelmed and passes out, and it's I got the vapors. And Mando goes back into the cave and grabs the hairy egg, like we had talked about, and we bring it back to. He brings it back with Baby Yoda back to Nick Nolte and the Jawas. And, Mando's like, I'm surprised you waited. And Mando's like, I'm surprised you took so long.
A great line.
They got a little back and forth going on. Like, I like it.
Yeah.
So Mando hands over the testicle. And the Jawas walk over, and they start walking over to, like, it's cool to see the inside of the Sandcrawler, by the way. Because you see, like, multiple levels to it. But on the one side of the back end, you can see that the back end just opens up and all the levels are revealed at once.
Yeah. The thing I thought was cool was, like, when they get this egg, or when they ask for the egg, you're thinking, like, this is something really critical. This is, like, a big deal. Like, this is something they're going to make a ton of money off of, right? And so when he presents the egg with him, the one guy grabs it and starts, like, walking into the Sandcrawler. But then he turns around, and he's like, Tuga! And like cuts it open.
Yeah.
And they just start feasting on it. Like they crowd it and feast it.
It's like the grossest Cadbury egg you've ever seen in your life. Because the guy reaches in and pulls it out.
It's just yolk.
And but it's yolk, it's got like substance to it, and he like scoops it out and it just like mozzarella cheese stretches. And he's like,
and just like
Tuga!
And it's like running down their face.
It was kind of gross. It was like and the man just looks at Nick Nolte and just shakes his head like, this is what I did this for. I just got my ass kicked for that. Well, it's probably like a delicacy.
I'm sure.
It's probably like rhino horn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an aphrodisiac too.
Probably. Going to be a lot of Jawas tonight. That's probably what it is. It's probably a Jawa or ew.
Ew.
Let's not have that mental image.
It's like midget porn.
I mean, last episode we cut out Darth Maul pooping and how he does it because he got metal legs. So this time we're gonna have to cut out Jawa orgy.
Jawa orgy.
I think I'm gonna keep that in, and then people are gonna be like, "What?
What?
What? I want to know more."
Would you like to know more?
So the Jawas end up, gorging themselves.
Yeah, they literally have a feeding frenzy.
Yeah, it's
a feeding frenzy. They're like sharks in the water. It's like this is so important to them. Like it was weird. It throws you off. Yeah. It's kind of a little disgusting with the egg, but But it was cool. It was cool to add a little wrinkle to that fold where
it makes you think about what would happen if they were to end up going to get the egg.
Yeah,
like it would be a huge group of them
to
go take this Mudhorn on.
Like with the whole Sandcrawler would go. Yeah,
exactly. It would be the Sandcrawler versus the Mudhorn. We get through that part, and then we have a scene of Mando and Nick Nolte's character, the Ugnaught, just traveling with Baby Yoda, who's still passed out, by the way. He's still passed out in his egg. And
too many.
Nick Nolte says, so explain it to me again. Mm-hmm. Explain what happened to me again.
Right.
And the Mando says, I don't really understand myself.
Yeah.
Which just means he's told him what happened. Like, little Baby Yoda just used Force, and I don't know how to explain it to myself because Force users hasn't been around for 20-something years at this point.
Well, not only that, but, like, usually you have to be trained, right? So this creature seems to be able to not only use the Force, which they haven't seen in pretty much a generation. Not a generation, but, a couple decades. But then it seems adept at it already.
Yeah, almost natural.
Yeah. So it's like, and part of it seems like that he's questioning, why did it do it for me? I think that was a little bit of the underlying tone to that conversation of like, why would he have done that for me? Like he could have had his freedom, not that the little.
But he's still a baby. He's 50 years old, but he's still a baby. So you don't know what that mental.
Yeah.
Well,
he's got no vocalization, so I'm assuming it's like a 2-year-old.
Yeah, subtitles only say like coos and like, not giggles and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean,
doesn't say anything.
Humans start talking right around 2, so
yeah, so
that's a very slow development because it does seem like it has this natural urge to use the
force. Yeah,
force.
Twice in one episode we have him try to use the force. Once to heal the Mando, because we now know from later in the episode that that's what he was trying to do.
Right.
And then to literally save the Mando from being trampled by the Mudhorn.
Mm-hmm.
Mando and Nick Nolte and Baby Yoda get back to their ship, and Nick Nolte's character is an Ugnaught. And if you know anything about Ugnaughts, the last time you saw them was in Bespin, and they're working on whatever they're working on in Bespin, right? But they were able to take apart C-3PO like that. Okay. Like C-3PO goes in, and they were able to take him apart like nobody's business, because the next scene, he's on Chewbacca's back in a net or whatever. So you know that they're industrious.
Okay.
Because of how fast and efficient they can work.
Right.
And so we kind of know that as Star Wars fans, and then we get building montage.
Yeah.
And it's just like, there's like, him like welding stuff and like hammering stuff, and Mando's walking back and forth being like, he's doing a good job.
If only Hannibal had been in a costume and like opened up his shield and smoked a cigar and said, I love it when a plan comes together.
Yeah.
I love it when a plan comes together. I love it when a plan comes together. He loves it when a plan comes together.
That we were watching it, you're like, I love the A-Team. You're like, because it was like one of those ridiculous plans the A-Team has.
Yeah.
And then it's a montage of them making the ridiculous vehicle. So he finishes, and we have a nice, it's kind of a sweet scene between Nick Nolte and the Mando, where he's like, I could use you on my crew.
Yeah.
And Nick Nolte's like, I've worked my whole life to not be a servant anymore. And
I like that, yeah.
Which goes back to the history of the Ugnaughts.
Mm-hmm.
And the Mando's like, I can't thank you enough. Can I repay you?
Yeah, he wants to offer him part of the bounty.
Yeah, anything.
Right, he's offering him, 50% of the bounty?
Yeah. And he says, no, you're my guest. Nick Nolte says, no, you're my guest.
Yeah.
And just really, really cool, really nice character.
The nicest that Nick Nolte's probably ever
been in his life. Yeah, right? To anybody.
And the Ugnaught is just like, he's just thankful that he's got some peace and quiet now.
Yeah, and then all the brigands are gone.
Brigands.
Yes. Mm-hmm. There's no more brigandry in his valley.
More
the Mando's brought peace to the valley.
Yeah, peace to the valley.
So Mando takes Baby Yoda on the ship, and they end up peacing out. And that's the end of the episode, is them just kind of going off into space.
Yep.
And
credits roll, production art.
Yep. Again, great art. Great
awesome
art at the end.
Yeah.
Really.
I mean, overall, the 30 minutes feels like 10. You don't feel like you're missing stuff, but you know that there's possibly more story to everything that you're seeing. Which I like because it allows them to develop more stories wherever they want without exposing the bones, to say. They don't have to, they can establish anything happening in these gaps whenever they want.
Mm-hmm. What they were doing with the expanded universe for years.
Right. I really like the episode. They definitely pack a lot in. There's a lot going on. You could, if you're distracted and look down, you can miss, an important part and be like, oh, what happened?
Don't look at your phone.
Yeah, put your phone down. Just watch the show. It's only half an hour.
But, no, I enjoyed the episode as well. What would you rate it out of 10?
I don't know. A 7?
I really enjoyed the episode as well. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 as well. I liked all of the action between Mando and the Jawas, and Mando and the Trandoshans, and Mando and the Mudhorn. It was just, all of it was well done. The cinematography was great.
Awesome.
And I'm also going to say that I liked all the close-ups on Baby Yoda, and I really liked that. I like the hair work on him. It's great. Every time I have a back or front shot of the puppet, whoever did the hair work on him with the floppy ears, because they're silicone. I know they're silicone ears because they're real floppy. They got a lot of give to them. They're see-through.
Yeah.
So whoever did that, you did a great job. Just want to let you know that.
Absolutely.
But thanks, guys, for tuning in to Morsel Media, The Mandalorian Episode 2 review. I hope you guys tune in next time to Episode 3. Please like and subscribe below. And I'm Mike.
I'm Matt.
And hope to see you next time. Bye, guys.
See ya.